What's up, Anals? And of course, by Anals, we mean Asian, not Asian listeners. Welcome back to the podcast. This is Asian, not Asian, a podcast where two Asian guys not from Asia talk about American issues no American cares about. I'm your host, Fumi Abe.
And I'm Mike Nguyen.
Before we start the show, quick shout out to our newest Patreon fans. These are people who give us money on a monthly basis. So if you want to get in on this, go to patreon.com/Asian, not Asian pod. And as a reward, we try to guess your ethnicity based on purely your name. A very problematic game that we do every week, but you know, we love it. We love it here, and we're actually getting pretty good at it. So, the first person, of course, is our. Basically, he owns us now. He gives us $50 a month, and if you give $50 a month, you get a producer credit. So Ryan Kags, thank you so much again. You know, we hope that you're still employed and can keep giving us money. Then we got Akiko, that is Japanese as fuck. No way around it. My mom's name is
also, it's tight
Yukiko.
as hell because it's just the one name, which is like, isn't that how emperors roll? You know?
Oh my god! Wait! Is this an emperor? Is this the emperor's daughter?
Emperor? Is this an? Oh shit!
That is how emperors roll. Actually, the emperor. I don't know if he died or not. I think his name is Akihito or something like that. So maybe a distant cousin or something.
Well, how about a little bit more money there, Your Highness? You know?
Yeah, my grandma used to talk shit about the emperors because she called them tax thieves. That's how the regular people feel about them. So thank you. All right, next we have Gilberto Flores.
Filipino. I'm gonna say
That's Filipino.
I'm gonna call it Filipino. Yeah.
Maria Wong. That's nice and easy. That's Chinese.
That's a nice Chinese name.
Nice Chinese name. I love a good old
American
Chinese name.
Hell
yes. And then lastly we have, I don't know how to pronounce this. Is this Cassiopeia?
Cassiopeia, yeah.
I know that's like a Greek goddess or something.
It's like a Greek character. I want to say that she was the person that Theseus rescued. I was a virgin for a long time, so I know a lot about Greek stuff.
I was like, God damn.
It's tight. But either way, also just the one name. That's fire.
Okay,
fire.
I have a guess for what ethnicity this person is, and I could be wrong. I think this person might be Japanese and or a huge fan of Japanese jazz fusion, because in the 80s there was like a really popular band called Cassiopeia who like played with a bunch of like famous jazz people, but like it's really niche, like the people who like get too good at piano and then now they play music that nobody fucking likes anymore. It's
they don't even play the keys, they actually like play just the strings of the piano.
Yeah, they're like reaching in and
they're
shit
just
into the
reaching
piano.
in there and like pouring spaghetti in there.
You're like,
and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's like
this?
dumping. Yeah, exactly. Like that kind of music.
But like people who are like into it are like, yeah, dude, fucking ragu, dude, yeah. So shouts to Cassiopeia and her ragu
in the piano. All right. Today's we're gonna try to answer on this podcast is the question: is not knowing how to feel, is that Asian or not Asian? Okay, I had something. Man. You know, this week has been very tough for everybody for obvious reasons. And, you know, real quick, to be honest with you, like, it's been so crazy that this morning I woke up with a swollen left eye. Like, it looked like a bruise.
Right.
And things have been so bad this week. I was like, did a white guy sneak into my apartment last night and punch me in my sleep? Because that's what it fucking looked like. Yeah, just, they're so sneaky sometimes. They be sneaking in, they punch you and they leave, you know, no evidence.
The thing is that if that did happen, it wouldn't even be top 10 worst thing that happened this week.
This week, I know.
Just be like, all right.
Yeah, it'd be like number 12. Yeah, that's kind of my brand. But I did get a lot of, you know, I'm sure you did too, but this is the first time I think a lot of people got text messages from their friends. They could have been Asian or not Asian, asking you how you feel. And it was interesting because it's the first time. First of all, I think that concept is fairly new. I think it kind of happened over the summer with the whole like George Floyd thing and everything like that. And you know, there's a lot of the check-in. You know, how are you doing?
The check-in, yeah.
And well, I think, you know, obviously it's I'm glad that they checked in and everything like that. But I also had this realization that like I don't have enough white friends. I didn't get enough check-ins. I only got like 3, and I feel like people are getting more. I don't know. Where did you stand on that? How many did you get, and what were they like?
I like how we're comparing the numbers, you know?
Because that's what this is about, right?
Yo, how many check-ins you get, though? Oh, man, bro, you know, so I used to be in a frat, so I got 34 check-ins. Yeah. No, I got 2. And, you know, it is interesting. I was reading, you know, on Twitter, and it was like, oh, so, you should check in with people, or some people are saying, you shouldn't check in with people because there's all these different things. And I don't know. I mean, I think it kind of like depends on the person.
Yeah, that's what I meant by like I didn't know how to feel about it,
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I think even if I'm okay with the check-in, but just I don't know what you want me to say. I'm doing bad. I don't know, like, and I'm not just saying like, oh, I'm doing bad. My hip hurts. No. The world is a disaster, and I've been working through this for 40 plus years, and I just don't know what to do anymore. Is that what you wanted me to text back?
Yeah, I know.
We could go into it if you want to talk about it.
That's a great point. It's like, yeah, that's the thing is like, if you call me or text me, it's like, do you really want to get into it? Because like, I could write an essay. You could read this thing. You could read my personal journal. That's this high, and it's just all sad shit. Or do you want me to say like, thank you for checking in? I'm fine. I think that's
which one
do you want?
Aggressive way to do it is someone texts you how you doing, and then you text them back a Zoom link, and you're just like, what's up? You want to talk? This
is what you wanted, right?
Yeah. So I think it is. It's cool that people are checking in, but again, it's tricky, and I don't.
It's tricky. Some of my friends are so woke that they texted me like before I woke up, and I was like, I haven't even read what's happening.
Yeah,
I don't even know what I'm supposed to be sad about. It's like, give me 2 hours to read this goddamn article. So anyways, we wanted to, listen, I wanted to kind of talk about this with our guest today. And actually, before we get to that, real quick, yes. So this is something we want to talk about with our guests. We booked her a little bit ago, and we had all these fun things planned, but obviously we wanted to kind of address what's happening this week in the world, the country, and the Asian American community specifically. And one thing different we want to do on this podcast is because I'm sure a lot of the listeners and the guests today, and me and you, Mike, both, I think this week we heard a lot of academic / sort of cookie cutter responses to the incident, from corporations and things like that. Just kind of like big words circling around, kind of checking off the box, but it doesn't really. I'm not really getting anything from it. It's like I see that you acknowledge it, but I'm not really getting anything from it. It's like, thank you, fucking Nabisco, for acknowledging what's happening. You know what I mean? It's just like, that corporate
really
language.
Dope Oreo response was what I needed.
Yes, exactly. So this week I kind of wanted to talk about how it affected people on a more personal level. Again, we're not here to represent all Asian people, and this is just how I've been feeling, how Mike's been feeling, and how our guest has been feeling. So I want to bring up our guest. She is the front woman of the amazing band Japanese Breakfast. She's got a new single out called Be Sweet. Check that out on Spotify. And she is the author of the newly published book, or it's going to come out in April, called Crying in H Mart. And we can't wait to talk to her about it. So please give it up for the amazing Michelle Zauner.
Hi.
Hey. Wait, can you hear us? I couldn't hear you say hi.
Hi.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Yo, you get a little reverb on your mic.
I do not.
I'm going to text you. How are you doing? You doing okay, Michelle?
I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Did you get a lot of texts too? Sorry.
I did get a few texts, like largely from people I don't really talk to, which was weird.
Interesting. Yeah.
I had a few. I saw a lot of people tweeting about how we should all, you need to check in on your AAPI friends. And I was like, why are you telling people to do this? I don't want that at all. And I think part of it is just, it feels, it is a nice thing, and it's well-intentioned, certainly.
Right.
But I feel like having to respond to that is like a type of labor that I don't really feel like participating in right now. And so I don't know if that's like part of the reason, it's not that I don't want to talk about it, especially with friends and people I feel like I can relate to, but I have just gotten like this swarm of press all of a sudden surrounding like grabbing a soundbite of my thoughts on this this moment. And the last couple of interviews I've done are these like larger publications that have like specifically asked me to like, can you tell us about this racist experience? Like, tell us about the racism that you've experienced. Like, literally, the last interview that I did was like, we're reaching out to 100 women of color and asking each of them to tell us about a time that they experienced racism.
Right. Right.
And I was just like, okay, so you're just reaching out to like 100 women and asking them to like unpack trauma for your best, you know?
Like, one of the worst things that's ever happened to you.
Yeah, this is the worst. This is the worst BuzzFeed quiz, you know?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know how to feel about it because on one hand, I understand what they're trying to do. I understand that they're trying to bring awareness to like different types of like racism that we experience. But it's also a lot of like labor that I'm angry about having to participate in. And similarly, like when I'm asked like on a television interview, like, you know, without being prompted, like, you know, what do you think about the, you know, anti-Asian like hate crimes? I'm just like, you're about to like interview 20 different like white people probably after me. And none of them are going to be asked about what they think about, you know, all of these people that have been killed in a mass shooting. And why not? I'm the only one that's supposed to care because I'm, you know, half Asian. Like why wouldn't all these other white people who know exactly what's going on be asked about how they feel about 8 people who were killed in a mass shooting? Like it just feels really unfair.
Well, how do you feel about if you're asked about it on a podcast? A little different.
I do feel
two Asian guys.
Yeah, 2 Asian people I know, and like I know that this is. I mean, it would be impossible to not talk about this, and it can be a more nuanced conversation, and we can say things like. I guess I was really let down. I was really upset yesterday because I was really let down by like how I responded because I was taken off guard, and I want to be. Courageous in this moment. I want to like step up and be like some type of leader because I do have a large platform, and especially like a lot of Asian fans that like look to me as a role model, a lot of kids, and I want to step into that role and feel like I have some great thing to say and guidance and like words of hope, but I like everyone else, like I'm very confused, you know, like I don't know. And I'm concerned about like, you know, a lot of like what this Kathy Barkong article that you sent over to me, like, is like, you know, there is this fear of like, I don't want to pit like our relationship with racism against like other minorities, like relationship to racism. And I think that that's kind of like a thing that our generation is sort of grappling with more than, you know, our parents' generation. I
think you hit the nail on the head with like the word labor, you know, there's a lot of stuff we have to like I feel like every single Asian person has suddenly become like an opinion writer, has been forced to write an opinion about this. And all, you know, I was talking to my wife is Korean American, and honestly she has a lot already to deal with. You know, like I don't know, has a job, it's a pandemic, she's doing all these things, and I realize it's not fair for me to ask her how she's feeling or whatever. She feels how she feels, and she shouldn't have to explain to anybody else about all these things. But I think also you hit it on the head also about you know, I think sometimes when people text you and they say, how are you doing, what do you think about this? Well, it's complicated, you know. I am not a Korean woman, I'm not an Asian American woman who lives in Georgia. I wasn't there, I don't know these people. It's horrifying, you know, as any American should feel. It's horrifying. It's extra bad because I do feel there's this like thing happening, but at the same time, you also feel like distanced from it, you know. And, and like you said, white people don't have to say when there's a terrible shooting, how do you feel about this white shooting? They can just live their lives and just acknowledge that it is horrible without having to then offer some extra thing. It's like, here you go. This is also an extra. Here's an extra Asian American 101 studies course that I'm about to give you, you know? Yeah.
I was conflicted because I agree with everything you guys both said, that the labor part is that. And also it's like, you know, to Michelle's point, it's like some people texted me that I was like, I haven't seen you. You know, like I'm literally looking at the text that they sent before, and the one before was like, hey, could I do your show sometime? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I was like, you don't even like me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're doing it to make yourself look good, you know, feel better or whatever. But like, it's interesting because I got this one comment that it kind of confused it even more. This one guy was like, he's like a pretty good friend. And he was like, and I guess this maybe speaks to how maybe disconnected, not just white people, but a lot of people are about Asian American issues and how sort of invisible we are. He was like, well, I didn't text you because you're Japanese and the women that were Korean. And I was like, oh, I guess that's also an angle. Like I never really thought about that. Yeah. But it's like, where do I go from there? Like, do I explain that when I step outside we're all Chinese? Like, am I supposed to explain that to him? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and just because they're Korean, like, dude, there's a lot of Chinese and Filipino people who work in massage parlors. Like, literally could have been anybody. I think the scariest thing for me was like, I mean, shit, you know, Michelle did a live podcast show with us. We have Asian Not Asian like live podcasts and live shows. A lot of people who come out are Asian Americans, and like this shit could have happened at Hack City. This shit could have happened on our own turf. That's what it confirmed for me, 100%. And like that's the scariest part.
I think it's tricky because the whole Asian American experience is like a very new thing. Well, new, I think, to a lot of people, and relatively new. I mean, Asians have been in this country for hundreds of years, but I guess that's relatively new. And the identity of Asian American is relatively new. It only started in the 60s and 70s. And I just wanted to kind of go back for a second because remember, this week also was Steven Yeun got nominated for an Oscar, which is awesome. You know, that's great. And also, there was this article. I was going to talk about how people got upset about the bamboo ceiling thing. Remember, there was someone who was like, they broke the bamboo ceiling, and then a bunch of people were like, "That's racist." And really, it's the opposite of racist because. But to your point, people don't know about all these things. They don't know about all the work that's already been done. They're just kind of jumping in and just like, oh well, I'm just going to talk about this instead. But you've talked about the complication, I think, of like, it's not unusual, but I think people have to realize that us coming together is in and of itself a difficult thing, right? We got a Korean musician, we got a Japanese dude, and a Vietnamese guy. All right, and there's no punchline. We didn't walk into a bar and then order a drink. Ha ha ha! Like this is it.
It's a new joke. Yeah.
It's a new joke, and we're all just sitting at the bar, just wondering what to do now.
Yeah, that's one of the things Kathy had mentioned in the article, and maybe I don't know, Michelle, you have any thoughts on that? But she was saying like, when the LA riots thing happened, people tried to kind of come together, but it didn't really happen. Same thing with Vincent Chin in like the whenever that was, 82 maybe is when it was.
80s, yeah.
And so this is kind of a new thing, I mean, Mike and I we're gonna try to go to that rally tomorrow in Chinatown, and but that's kind of my first Asian American rally. I've never done anything like this, so this is all sort of kind of new, and I think that's sort of kind of why we don't know how to react. I don't know if you feel that way, Michelle, but.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I also think it's like kind of a part of our culture to be private and like sort of like put our head down and like ignore it, like I think that when I think about my mom, when I would express to her my frustrations with growing up in like a largely white town, like, Mom, you just don't know what it's like to like be Korean in like a super white town, like in my point of view. And she was like, but you're not Korean, you're American. Like, what are you talking about? And that's like a part of the book too, where it's just like, I think for a lot of our parents, and actually a friend of mine just posted about like a few years ago, her father had been attacked and like, told to go to like his homeland or whatever. And she was like, my father never reported it, never said anything about it because he felt like we came to this country for a better life. And so we were just supposed to be quiet and bear it. And I feel like that's a big thing culturally for us, that it's not super common or supported to like speak up about this kind of thing. Yeah.
I think there's that statistic that people are kind of putting around that like hate crimes increased to 1,900%, which I'm 100% sure that it did increase, but at the same time I think it's also that people are finally reporting it, because for a long time we would get some hate shit on us and we'd just be like, well, that's Connecticut, we just keep like moving along, right? We just keep it moving, I
mean, we have this ongoing joke on this podcast called the racist ratatouille flashback, where like Mike and I will just be like playing basketball or something, and then we'd be like, wait a minute, in 4th grade, John Longman called me this. Like, it just comes back to you because you just like bury it, and you don't even. And I think that's why it took a while for people to like, even Asian people to like admit what's going on, because we train ourselves to like completely shut down when things like that happen. And it's been just, I think this week everybody's like starting to open up and self-reflect, and I don't know, it's just kind of been a mess, man.
Oh man, Fumi, man, like where you get your news sources from, man?
Me? Mainly Parler, Facebook,
Yep.
And then, of course, the Lunar Times.
Nice.
The Lunar Times is an online satire and humor publication for all Asian Americans. Their entirely free website, the lunartimesblog.com, has all sorts of short and hilarious articles, all written by Asian American writers. Some of their funny headlines include, Trader Joe's, unsure if Filipino customers identify with Trader Ming's or Trader Jose's.
And breaking, Barstool Sports announces new initiative to hire more diverse douchebags.
I interviewed there. No one hurts.
You're not enough of a douchebag.
China hopes Biden presidency won't slow down America's decline.
And report, white man who speaks Mandarin isn't a total weirdo about it. You can read all these pieces for free at thelunartimesblog.com and on their social media at @the_lunar_times on Instagram and Twitter. Again, that's thelunartimesblog.com and on Instagram and Twitter at @the_lunar_times.
I think the way, one thing I've been trying to get out is, and when we had Viet Thanh Nguyen on, he was talking about just having more stories and having all those things. And I think that's one thing we can do to kind of take back our narrative, is like to get more kinds of stories out there. So I don't want to just talk about, this thing that's happened to us. I want to talk about also the good stories. And Michelle, you mentioned your book. I've read your essay probably like 4 or 5 times. And so now you have this book out, and just quickly give us an overview about it and sort of how it came about.
Yeah. So my book is called Crying in H Mart. It comes out on 4/20, which is
sick.
It was really no. It's actually kind of a funny story because my agent was like, "What if?" She was like, "What if we publish the book? What if we ask the publisher to put it out on Mother's Day?" And I was like, oh my God, that's like reclaiming this day that's become like so painful for me. And it's just like a really happy thing. And like daughters can buy it for their mothers. And like, yes,
oh, man.
we should that's like such a beautiful like idea. Like let's bring it to the publisher. And the publisher was just like, we think 4/20 would be a great date, actually. I don't know if it was because they were like, this way people will have time to buy it for Mother's Day. Or something. I think it just worked with their calendar better. And I was just like, don't be difficult. But in my mind, I was like, everyone's going to be like, 4/20 blaze it about my like release date of this like really like heartfelt book. But I just sort of went with it. Yeah. So yeah, it comes out on 4/20. It's about grief. It's about a mother and daughter relationship with my Korean mother. It's about mixed race identity. It's about largely learning how to cook Korean food and how I kind of like sought that sort of education as a kind of refuge for my grief and this sort of alternative kind of therapy for me. And I just thought that the story was really sweet and it was a huge part of my life. And yeah, I'm really excited for people to read it.
So 2 things. A, somebody contacted us and was like, would you like a copy of this book? And we're like, yes, because she's going to be on the podcast in like a month. And it never came. So we haven't read it. I'm so sorry. We don't know where she never sent it to us.
We don't know what's going on.
Whoever's responsible, you're in trouble now, baby. Okay, I just told on you. We never got the book. But how does it sort of, because we read the essay, is it an expansion of the essay? Is it like, how does it sort of like, because I know it's the same title as the essay, but how did it kind of expand from that? Or like, how did you make it so that it's like the length of an average book or whatever it is?
I mean, Crying in H Mart is the first chapter of the book, and it's kind of like an overview of like all of the things, and it's like an overture of like all the things that kind of like happen in this story. But it's largely, it sort of starts about like, exploring like my life being like half Korean and growing up with an immigrant parent and the sort of like points of contention between my mother and I that largely stemmed from this difference in culture. My mom grew up in Korea and like we moved here when she was, I guess, 31 or so, when I was like a year old. And, a lot of the things that I had always assumed were like just cruel parts of my mom's personality or actually just like inherently part of like Korean culture. And I think that it was like the slow process of discovering that as I got older, and then largely focuses on this sort of 6-month period of time where I lived as a caretaker in Eugene over the course of my mother's illness and death. And then how I sort of found my way into cooking Korean food, and how that kind of helped me sort of contextualize what had happened.
Well, I think the title alone has H Mart in it, and I think this is not sponsored content. Hashtag not sponsored content.
They should sponsor us though.
They really should. We should get them. They would never do it. Anyways, we'll get into it. So they would never do it. So I feel that H Mart is a place for people who don't know. It's a Korean market, but it's like especially I think if you're on the East Coast, it's like home in a lot of ways. My wife and I, we're obsessed with it. We when we go there, we try to we're like on the Silk Road on the caravan. We're just like, okay, we gotta load up with as much spices as possible and bring it back to the king. We pile up all the stuff. And I wanted to know, do you have that same sort of feeling with H Mart? It's almost like a special place. I don't want to over romanticize it. But, you go there and you will go out of your way to go there. And you can't just go to there's the international aisle, of a Safeway,
Yeah, certainly. I think I feel like a lot of white people feel this way about Target.
Oh, yeah. It's Korean Target.
Or Trader Joe's or something. I always see such a big line outside of Trader Joe's. But...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it. And it sort of started with this other essay I wrote in 2016 that was published in Glamour called Love, Loss, and Kimchi, where, the sort of genesis of this came from, I started following Mangchi on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I started, needing to go to H Mart to make the things that I wanted to follow her making. And then I was going out to Flushing twice a week to get all of my groceries. And then... yeah, my my poor white husband has just stayed in the car. So at this point, we've gone to H Mart so much that he stays in the car.
Like a bank robbery.
Yeah, because I just spend so much time in there.
Keep the car running.
It's just so it's so much more than just getting groceries. It's there's a level of creativity that has to happen too, because you're oh my god, I totally forgot about fish cakes. I should make something with fish cakes. And then you spend another 20 minutes gathering all the things for whatever you're gonna tteokbokki or whatever. And then you see red bean and you're oh my god, I haven't had popping soup forever. And then you spend another 20 minutes getting all the stuff for popping soup. So yeah, it's definitely that experience for me. And I think that part of it, what it makes it really special, is that you can't just walk to the corner and get it. You have to take a pilgrimage there.
Yeah.
So it's also this feeling where you're I don't want, this is it for the week. So I have to get everything that I need.
Yes. I was telling Fumi before that, when, my wife, she's from Chico, way outside of Sacramento. And I'm not even sure if there's an H Mart there, but there's a Korean market in Sacramento, but it's 2 hours away. And they would load up for, they would fill their minivan up to the brim, for 2 or 3 months in order to have everything. And to your point, you can't just have one thing. You have to have several things in order to make the whole experience, because you can't just I'm going to make the soup. No, you got to have the soup, and then you also have the fish cake, and you also have to have this kind of rice, and then you also have you have to have special implements. You have to have that cauldron that's looks like you're a witch, and you're boiling shit in it. You can't just serve in a regular pot. I think that's fire. Do you? I don't know, dude, Fumi. Do you ever feel like that when you go to Japanese markets or anything like that?
I just had a Ratatouille flashback moment.
Ratatouille flashback.
Okay.
Wait, is Ratatouille flashback what is Ratatouille flashback? Is it rooted in racism?
Well, usually it is, but this is a good one.
But this is good Ratatouille. I thought that
this is good Ratatouille.
Okay. Good Ratatouille flashback.
Well, it's so funny.
This is when you eat the Ratatouille and then it zooms into.
Exactly.
Yeah, it zooms back. Yeah. This is a good one. So I didn't even think about. I think for a lot of diaspora people, going to your ethnic supermarket, that's the big one, is a very big deal, because I remember I grew up in Ohio. Luckily, we had a very small Japanese / Asian, I think Korean people would also go there. They just had Asian shit, East Asian groceries that you couldn't really get anywhere else, but it's really small, maybe the size of a deli. And that's kind of how we got by from when I was in second grade to whenever. But sometimes we would go on a road trip to Chicago, which was maybe 5-6 hours away, and we would go on vacation to Chicago because there was a huge Japanese grocery store there. It used to be called Yaohan, but now it's called Mitsuwa. There's one in Jersey.
I've been there. Yeah, I've been to there
yes.
in
and
Jersey.
And when I was a kid, like I didn't really know what was going on, but like to my parents, that was like a luxury to be able to like go through each aisle, look at the crazy rice cookers that they have and look at the different types of seaweed and like, and so you're right. Like even when I go into H Mart, because it looks very similar, I'm going through the aisles and it's like a nice trip down, like literally a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I used to eat that when I was in 3rd grade, or like, your little, like I remember buying these like little Pokemon candy things that had like a Pokemon thing in it, but it also came with like a little sugar treat or whatever. So it really does feel like Disneyland. And I feel like that's like a thing that only kids of immigrants would understand. It's truly like an amazing time, and I totally see why your husband would stay in the car because
it's so confusing. Yeah.
Because if you don't know what we're talking about, you're just like, why is she smiling looking at this bag of seaweed? It
like
is just
crying.
seaweed, and she's crying.
Yeah.
It's like
I remember we went. I mean, the reason why I go in there is I do know some of the food, but really I'm just like a pack mule that she can use me to carry more shit. Like one time, she really likes naengmyeon, right? Like the cold noodle.
Yeah.
And you get these packets of it, right? And they're like big packets. Maybe each one is maybe a pound or something like that. And she went up to the counter where it had it, and it was like a cartoon. She like put one in the basket, and then she put two, and she just kept going. and she took every single one. And I was like, ha ha ha. Gina, I get it. You're so funny. You really like it. And she turns around and she's like, what? There's no joke here. I'm buying every single one.
Because she wanted to try the different kinds?
We've only tried the one kind. I think because she's just very familiar with that one. I think that's the one she grew up with. But there's all these different kinds. But, now we go in there. And now I know a little bit enough where if I go in there, I know that I need to make sure that I get at least... makgeolli. That's like my big thing.
I love makgeolli.
I'm buying 4 or 5 of those.
Yeah.
That's like the main thing I'm getting. I don't know. I know that you probably, have a big list. But is there anything when you go into an H Mart? I don't know how we don't have a sponsor by H Mart because we're talking about it so much. But
they retweeted us once. Remember?
Well. Get some money. Okay. Is there anything you go in there, you compulsively buy it? You're just like, I know I have 40 of these at home. I'm just gonna buy another one. Fuck it.
I pretty much always buy pork belly because like so many Korean recipes like call for pork belly. And then always buy seaweed. We'll always buy
seaweed,
what have I been getting? This isn't Korean, but I always get like raw salmon, like salmon sashimi. Their like sushi section is like really tight, and like you can just buy like a huge fillet of like raw salmon, and it's like $14. If you got it at a sushi restaurant, it would be like $50 worth of sashimi. Right. So we always get that. What else do we always get? I think that there are different things that like come into season that are really exciting. And it's also just like, that's part of the fun of going there is that like every so often you like find something that is like different and like reminds you and you're just like I have to get it. Like I just...
Dude, you guys ever like convince yourself to buy too many those like Korean pears?
Yes, the 3-pack.
Fucking $7.
Those three, no, they're way
so
more than
expensive.
$7. They're like $13 for like a 3-pack with like the little wrapping or whatever.
Those, exactly.
But yeah, every so often I will treat myself to one of those. There's also like the Korean grapes, like that are in
Korean
season
grapes.
every so often, and
They're
those
like
are also really expensive.
They're
and you
so
can
expensive.
only buy like a big box of Korean grapes. Like you can't just buy one like bunch of Korean grapes. You have to buy like an entire box for like $30.
I used to live by a Korean deli, and if I had a good set, I would go in there and buy a pear for myself. I was like,
that is the most Asian thing ever.
Yeah. instead of popping bottles, you're popping pears. Just like, baby.
I swear to God, like, I mean, in like Japan and stuff, it's pretty common to gift somebody expensive fruit.
Yeah.
That's
Fruit,
like a thing.
No, that is a thing in every Asian culture, I feel like. Is like, you always
man.
bring
I
your
agree. I
like,
agree.
people's parents.
Yeah,
like,
I think the big thing for Vietnamese people is persimmons. We love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we always give people that shit. But I think that's the thing is that like if you, I don't know, you've ever had like a really good Asian pear, it's not just like here's a pear.
It's a special.
No. Yeah,
special.
it's not, it's the same thing between like
It's our
America
pair.
ham and Lunchable ham. It's
Dude,
not the same
you ever
fucking thing.
you remember the first time you were introduced to American pear and how superior you felt? I remember the first time somebody showed me a pear. I'm like, that. First of all, that looks like it's got a disease. Like, what is this shape? Well, it's not even a sphere.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have no idea. Like, this
Yeah.
is not a pear. Like, I just remember feeling that way. I have a question about H Mart though, because I don't really go there that often. Because it is pretty. There's not one in Brooklyn, and it's like really far away.
Yeah, there's one in Queens and there's one in Manhattan. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it's like 34 seconds.
Right.
Is there an international section in
Oh
H
my
Mart?
God.
And if so, do they sell craft singles? Like,
I
what
think
is it?
that they do. Like, there is like a section where they have like cereal.
Yo.
I can't.
Yo.
Really?
Yo, Michelle.
I think so. Yeah. I feel
There-
like they do have like a section where they put like cereal next to like Goya beans, like Goya products.
You know what I love too about H Mart is they will have all of your packaged goods, your Cheetos and stuff like that, but the Korean version
Has their own
right?
snack
So,
aisle.
what's that?
Wait, go ahead.
Yeah, so it'll have like it'll have like whatever Cheetos, but it'll be written in Korean.
Yeah.
And it'll be like smoky barbecue, it'll be yes, this is the one. I gotta get this. Fuck this other Lay's shit. This is the Korean Lay's,
I hate Korean versions of like Western chips though.
Oh, you don't like them? I agree.
Like
They're not as good
Korean
as I thought
Cheetos
they
are
would
like
be.
weirdly sweet. Like they're all of their
Yes.
like when I'm in Korea, like if I get like a Cheeto product, there's like this strange sweetness that doesn't exist in like the
I
American
agree.
version.
I feel that there's some marketing consultancy was like Korean people love sweets. We have no proof, but here you go.
Which is crazy because I've heard people say that about Korean food. I don't feel like Korean food is that sweet, but I feel like Japanese food is like really sweet.
Japanese food is so sweet.
So sweet.
It's like we don't really like spicy. I guess I'm just realizing
Oh,
this as an
wow.
adult because
I guess
well,
that's
it's
true.
like, have you ever had like I'm sure you guys have made like those Japanese curry packets at one point.
Yeah.
And if you buy the spicy one, like
It's
Korean
not
people
spicy.
would laugh at
Right,
that.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Mock
it's not,
you. Yeah.
but that's our like spicy because we like can't handle for whatever reason we never
Funny, I
got
didn't
into it or
think about
whatever.
that, really.
I also want to talk about this. I mean, this book is super exciting. But this other thing happened recently that's super exciting. You were on fucking Jimmy Fallon, bruh. You were on Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon Big.
And for a couple reasons, it's exciting. You have a song called Jimmy Fallon Big. I don't know the lyrics, but I'm assuming it's about you wanting to be on Jimmy Fallon, or do you want to be that big? Maybe, I have no idea. But you're on it.
Yeah.
You're on
Yeah.
it now. What was that? Kind of walk us through what that was like. First of all, like making music / making a music video in the quarantine, because I know I work at James Corden now, and we did the same thing. We don't have artists come in anymore. They film somewhere else, and then we just play their footage. And I was watching your Fallon set, and it was the same thing. I don't know what venue you were at, but like you filmed like a fake music video at a different venue, right? So like, what was that whole process like?
Yeah. So I have a song called Jimmy Fallon Big, and the song is actually written about my old band was this band called Little Big League, and our bass player was invited to play in another band, and our band wasn't very successful, but their band was really starting to take off, and so he kind of sat me down at my kitchen table and was like, listen, like, I love Little Big League, but like this band has asked me to be a touring bass player with them. They're about to be Jimmy Fallon Big, and like I've got to go pursue my dream,
Yeah.
And I was really sad because I was like, that's like my brother, like we were in a band together for 2 years, and like he was like a brother to me, and I felt like so much shame that like it wasn't working out for our band, and he had to go do what was right for him, and like I was also just really sad that like we weren't at that level, and like it looked like we were never going to be at that level. So I wrote this song largely because I was like, you have this thing with us where like you have a creative voice, and you're leaving that to go like be a player in this band, and like so the repeating line in the song is like, why walk when you can show up on time? And like,
dang.
and then years later he got fired, and but he was like, he was like my really good friend, and like I was like, you know what, like my band is starting to like grow, and like why don't you just join my band now? And so he actually rejoined our band and has been playing with us for like 2 or 3 years now, and then in time like we became Jimmy Fallon big, and we were able
Whoa!
we were
So
able to play
he's
it
right now
together.
in
So
your
now
band?
he is in our band. Like, he is our bass player, and we were actually
Yo!
that band never played Jimmy Fallon. They played Seth Meyers. And so
Oh wow! Names.
Also, yeah, wow, damn, that is the ultimate. I mean, like, that's some sort of like crazy ultimate stunt on an ex. You know, like you wanted to go to this restaurant. Well, guess what? Now I'm gonna take.
now
you
I
to
own the
Plus,
restaurant. Yeah.
I own the restaurant.
Also, I just had a I just had this image of me leaving Mike and then Mike writing a song called James Corden Big.
No. What needs to happen is
You need to-
leave
yeah.
me, and then
You need to write, like,
I
Stephen Colbert
write a
big.
bit. Yeah, I write a bit, and then I do the bit on James Corden.
Yeah.
And I do a stand-up set, and I'm looking you right in the eyes. while I'm
You're
doing
crying.
it.
I know. Our label boss was like, now you need to write a song called like SNL Big or something.
That's so funny. Oh my god.
But yeah, it was
So,
really,
I mean,
really
yeah.
fun. We filmed it at National Sawdust in Williamsburg, and they were amazing. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people were like, thank God, you know, it's like so much better actually that you like get to not do it live. Like, I was rewatching,
Yeah.
like, my friend sent me this video of like the Breeders performing on like some late night show, and like Kim or Kelly Deal breaks a string literally like on the first strum, and then just has to
Shit.
play the entire thing, and does it like a boss. But like, I would have had a complete meltdown if something like that happened, and would have totally been unable to recover. So in some ways it's great, because like if you like fuck it up, like you can do it a few more times and like not submit that one. We did do it, you know, it is live. It's actually all we wanted to shoot something that was all one take to kind of like try to really like bring out that live feeling. But there's also like a lot, you know, there's a drawback in one ways, because it's like I don't like actually have like the sensory like memory of like being of those nerves, you know, that I feel like I'm kind of sad that I don't have. And also like the pressure is on you. Like, if it's not great, like it's your fault for not like planning it better.
It's
and
not
like
the fault of the studio.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, I watched it and I didn't even realize that it was not there, but I was like, oh wow, they did a really good job. I didn't know they were going to do it like this, and now it all makes sense that you had done it yourself, because it was so like theatrical, and it just felt it felt a lot bigger than what they usually do, because usually that stage is really small and there's not like a lot of angles and all that stuff.
Yeah, usually like those shows, like the sound. Every time I see like my favorite band on SNL, their sound is not good.
Right.
It's all weird.
So
Yeah.
It is,
it's not like the NPR or Tiny Desk thing. I wanted to ask you, was that your first time sort of performing since last March, like in terms of like running around and you're dressed up and like kind of live performance, or have you done stuff like that in the pandemic?
We've done a couple of like live streams. I think we did one for bands in town, and then last year we did one for like an XPN festival.
Okay, cool. I only asked because like, as stand-ups, we've been doing some shows, but I've definitely lost that like live performance muscle where I can just be on my feet and say something funny quickly, or like get out of a shitty situation. And I was wondering, as you were performing this Fallon thing, because you said you performed twice, and when you used to tour all over the country all the time, right? Like, I wonder, from a musician's perspective, are there things you feel like and as you were performing, were you like, oh, I forgot how to do this, or like, oh man, like it feels good to do this again, or was it anything like that? Oh, definitely.
I mean, also, as you guys would can imagine, like it's weird to do it without an audience to like turn on,
my God.
when there's no one there. But yeah, we've definitely gotten pretty rusty as a band and have had to like have a few more rehearsals, and like even because like Be Sweet is like a new song, I remember when I wrote the song called Till Death off our last record, and it was like pretty at the top of my range, and like it just took like months of touring and singing it every night to like just really stretch out into it and get really comfortable. And like, because we haven't been able to tour that song and play it every night for a few months, like it's still like I'm like kind of relearning how to like stretch into that song. So yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, but like it feels like things are about to like maybe come back soon. One thing that really freaks me out is like we are starting to get festival offers. And I'm just like, oh my God, is like the first show I'm going to play like going to be at like a festival?
Like a big festival.
At a big festival, like outside. And like, am I it's gonna be really scary to like have to run to catch up. But hopefully it's like riding a bike. You just,
Yeah,
like,
well, listen, if you ever need stage time, I'm sure Mike and I will do some comedy shows on the rooftops. If you just want to practice your high range, more than that, happy to put you between me and Mike, our butthole jokes.
One thing that's crazy is we've been doing this interview, and we had a very awesome interview, and we're still doing it about H Mart. Then we talked to this amazing author, and then we talked to an amazing musician. And it's all the same person.
I was like, who's he talking about?
You were like, oh, let's also talk about your music. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh my God, she's also this.
She's in a band.
Really? Recently, I believe you just made the judo team, the Olympic judo team. Can we talk about that for a little bit as well? Yeah, it's been really tough doing this, but, I think my Seonagi's pretty good. So how many things you got going on, girl? Damn.
That's pretty much it.
I have to ask because I'm a hype beast, but where did you get your outfit from in the performance? It's like this. It's like a set.
Yeah,
like a sequence set.
It is Rodarte, and we bought and returned it.
Oh wait, that's so fun. Wait,
it is really funny because I have like
you kept the tags on. And
yeah. We bought and returned it. But they were like, they reposted it, and they're like, oh, Michelle's wearing Rodarte, my stylist. And we're like, they don't
That's
know.
your next goal, man, is to be on Jimmy Fallon and be able to afford the outfit with your damn money. Just burn the outfit
One
after.
day, hold on here. Hey, you know what? I'm just a writer. I'm just a struggling writer, so...
Hello Tushy! The future of toileting has arrived. Okay, it's technically been around for centuries, but hideously expensive, costing thousands.
Now the brand new Hello Tushy 3.0 modern bidet attachment is here to level the playing field. It's stylish, eco-friendly, easy to install, and affordable.
Hello Tushy 3.0 doesn't just cleanse your butt with a precise stream of fresh water. It cleans itself. Before and after it's used with the Smart Spray automatic self-cleaning nozzle.
It attaches to your existing toilet, requires no electricity or additional plumbing, and cuts toilet paper use by 80%. So the Hello Tushy bidet pays for itself in a few months.
Shout out to the people who were part of that study. Because with Hello Tushy, you don't wipe at all. Just poop, spray, dry, and go.
And sanitation is so simple. The Schmutz Shield offers easy cleaning, and the knobs are naturally antimicrobial. It is trademarked. The Schmutz Shield is trademarked.
No way that's real.
The Schmutz Shield is a trademark thing.
Plus, every Hello Tushy bidet attachment comes with a 60-day risk-free guarantee and a 12-month warranty.
Already got a tush on your pot? Upgrade to the new 3.0 model. If you're new to the revolution, join millions of Hello Tushy customers right now and have a clean butt with every flush. It's true, buddy.
Our listeners can go to hellotushy.com/ANA for 10% off plus free shipping. Get 10% off plus free shipping and get your butt clean at hellotushy.com/ANA. hellotushy.com/ANA.
Yeah, let's play this game. It's a loosey-goosey game, so it's gonna be just for fun. So
It's not one of those serious games.
Yeah. It's yeah. We're gonna play Dungeons and Dragons now. No, we're with our guest Michelle Zauner, and she has a great book called Crying at H Mart, and we wanted to play a game called Shoplifting at Kmart. And the idea of the shoplifting at Kmart is, imagine you have to make a delicious Korean meal, but you can only make it with stuff that you steal from Kmart that you have to carry out of the store. It could also be Target. I don't know if you know that much about Kmart. I don't know that much.
I don't know. I don't know if I've been to a Kmart, but I've definitely.
Okay, let's do Target.
Oh wow, you guys think you're better than me because you've never been to a Kmart? I see how
I've been to a Kmart, but I haven't been recently. I just know that you can also buy a shotgun there. You know, I don't know what they got. So like, let's just imagine Target, the white people H Mart. Target. You gotta make a Korean meal. You can only carry stuff out. What do you steal from this place?
Oh my God.
It's a tricky one.
It's funny because my mom, my mom lived in Heidelberg, Germany for a short period.
I thought you were gonna say it's funny because my mom used to steal.
My mom used
yeah. When she stole, what did she steal?
But my aunt told me that she used to like chop jalapenos and soak them in water because it was the closest she could get to kimchi.
shit.
like kimchi jjigae, like kimchi stew. Like that was like how
Yeah.
she tried. It's like really sad. Actually, this is a really good one. When I was in Korean school, like one of the ladies, like her hack was like, I actually love these kinds of hacks because like a lot of, this is like a new thing where like part of what makes H Mart so exciting is that like, there was a time where there wasn't like a large, grocery store that had all these imports. Like you would have to get kind of creative. So I knew this Korean lady who would get like Pillsbury, like crescent rolls. And there's this thing called hotdog in like in Korea where it's kind of like a Korean donut, and it's just like you put like brown sugar in dough and then you like fry it, and it's like there's like melted sugar on the inside. It's really good. And so this woman, like her shortcut hack was that she would get like Pillsbury Doughboy. Pillsbury, is it just Pillsbury? Not Doughboy. Pillsbury Doughboy is just the mascot. She would get Pillsbury crescent rolls and she would like fold in like nuts and like brown sugar and then fry it. So I would just steal Pillsbury crescent rolls and brown sugar.
Okay.
And you have...
There you
That's
go.
great.
You have
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
I totally feel you. I feel you have to like jury rig so many different things. And I feel especially like in the 80s and 90s before all this stuff was out, you just had to kind of like make do with stuff.
Totally.
And
I remember like my mom being really like, that was like a part of like, we didn't have an H Mart where I grew up in Eugene, Oregon. It was like a smaller town. There's this like local Asian market called Sunrise. And I remember they started in a smaller location. And as like there were more Asian immigrants coming into Eugene, like largely because of the university, they actually like moved to a bigger location. And so every time, like every time we would go, like sometimes they would get new imports. So stuff that we wouldn't be able to like, get before like started coming like year after year, and it was really exciting for my mom. And also that I think it's in the essay, or it's in the book, at least it's in the book, but they used to have like a VHS tape section, and I think either they had like their family members record DVRing it or whatever, and then like sending it back home. And then my mom would like rent from their like library like these like ripped VHS tapes and like watch these K-dramas that like all her friends had been watching like 5 years ago,
That is such like 2001 energy.
Right.
Man. My mom did that too, for sure. There was a Korean drama called Winter Sonata that was so popular. Do you remember that one? It was
I don't
so
remember
popular.
that one. That's really funny.
And everybody was watching. I remember those VHS. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and then I remember like 5 years later, my dad like for a Christmas like the one really good Christmas present that he got from my mom was like you could get a subscription on your TV for like a Korean channel.
Yes.
And just like what that meant for her was like so exciting. Or every time we went, it's just like that's a lot of like what my book is like those like ordinary moments that like you look back on that are really meaningful. Like I remember every time like my parents would like fly, just like the comforts that like only like immigrants know. Like whenever like my mom and I went to Korea like every other summer on the jet bridge, we would always take like Korean Air or Asiana, and like on the jet bridge they always had like Korean newspaper, and my mom would always be like bring a Korean newspaper. And now like recently I was at H Mart and I saw that they had like all of these Korean newspapers laid out in the entryway, and I just think that that's like very sweet. Like it's just it's like a comforting thing for a lot of immigrants to like be able to like read a Korean newspaper or like whatever language.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's the whole thing, is that all these things that we thought of as being, silly, or maybe even we were embarrassed of. I mean, I was like that when I was like, oh, this is so weird that we're doing these things. I now realize this is stuff that like my parents did because they didn't have shit else. They had to deal with what they could. And like, we have something called Paris by Night, which Fumi, you might be familiar with it from when we did Viet Thanh Nguyen, when we had him on here. And like I was like, why are they so obsessed with this? But that's like, it's a Vietnamese variety show that's filmed by the diaspora. And this was like the only connection they had to Vietnamese entertainment. There is no Vietnamese Netflix. There is no art that comes out of Vietnam, at least until recently. So this was like the only thing they really had. So like all that stuff you're talking about, it as far as like ripping things, like like the reason why Asian people are always bootlegging stuff is because this is how we get it out of the country. I'm not doing this to be cheap, dog. Okay, this is how I beat the censors. I got to get it out of there.
That's such a good point, because we had like you could only get one Japanese channel, and it wasn't even the good one. It was NHK, which is like PBS.
Oh yeah.
And they were fucking pumped, but it's just the government news. But that's all they could get. And they're like, hell yeah. And I'm like, this is just like
watch the stock report.
Yeah, for sure. That's so. I never even thought of it like that. I remember being like embarrassed about it because it'd be on when my friends would come over, and I'd be like, it's just the fucking news. Who cares? But like for them, it was like
that's their piece of home.
It's like this or nothing. I would, this is like a little MacGyver thing.
Yeah.
Japanese people do. If you can't afford sushi, you buy avocado and you just put soy sauce on it.
What?
That's
so you make
sad.
like a little rice thing, and then you put avocado, and then you put soy sauce on it, or what?
I literally like I cut it into like little slices, and I just pour it, and I just eat it as if it was fish. Because it kind of tastes like salmon. It kind of tastes like tuna. Sorry, tuna's what I meant. Yeah, we should do that sometimes.
Oh my god, damn.
The poor man's sushi, bro.
That's really sad.
Whoa.
I feel like you can make more like something better. I feel like you can make something better from Target.
You've been missing all the stories of Fumi putting the frozen his half-eaten pizza directly into the fridge with no plate. And also him drinking expired oat milk for a week.
Oh my god!
This is pretty.
Yo, is that an Asian thing? Because my mom gave me food poisoning like so many times because they don't believe They don't believe. Yeah, because I feel like my mom she left out like this. She made like a potato like sour cream cheese like casserole, some white thing, and she left it out for like a day or something, and then I got food poisoning.
I think it's like my mom didn't. Well, first of all, little background. I live alone now because I'm single and I can't take care of myself, and my towel smells like ass. That's what that is. But I remember my grandma. I think anybody who's been through war, they don't like expiration dates don't register in their heads. You know what I mean? They're like, no, this cake is fine. It's 2018. I don't give a shit. Put it in my mouth.
Yeah. I feel too. They're like, oh, if you get food poisoning, don't worry, your body still got the nutrients.
Exactly.
So that's
exactly. Or my mom, this is also in my book where my mom, we got food poisoning. I got food poisoning probably like twice a year. It was like not a crazy thing for me to get. Not because of her food, but it's just like the kind of food that we eat is a little risky. You know what I mean? It's a little risky. But I remember my mom, every time I had any kind of ailment, she'd be like, you just throw it up. You know what I mean? You just throw it up, you cry it out, whatever. There's nothing we can do. And when my husband, who's white, got food poisoning, his mom was like, you should take him to the hospital. I was like, why would I take him to the hospital?
Walk it up, buddy.
I'm like, he's just gonna throw up. What do you mean?
He's coughing blood. No, he's fine.
He's fine. He's fine.
I love that. That is so funny because now I'm thinking back to it, and I remember my friend. He's Korean, and his wife also got food poisoning, and she's like, oh, I got sick from the food, and I was just like, you know what, risky. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like that scene in Training Day where Denzel Washington is like, hey man, smoke this pipe, and that's what it's like eating with Korean people sometimes, dog, because it's like, hey man, you like to get wet, just try this, who knows what's gonna happen.
It's like buying drugs from somebody in a dark alley or something. What the fuck?
I think any culture that eats a lot of seafood, it's like if you're eating shellfish, you're
Very
putting
true.
yourself at risk, and there's a reason why there's a warning. I mean, Japanese people eat all this raw egg and raw chicken.
Oh yeah, it's dangerous.
And it's so good.
Yeah.
I forgot we used to do that. Just raw egg on rice, bro.
I love raw egg on rice.
It's so good. Yeah, but I mean, I don't do it here because it's but 100%, man. That's a great insight. I hope you put that in your book. That's a real sexy way to summarize Korean food.
It is, yeah.
You want to ride?
You want to ride?
You want to ride or die? Well, try some of this.
Oh, I love that. Michelle, this is so great. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you again also for doing it this time and in the live stream before. It's always such a pleasure when you're on the show. Where can our fans find you? And is there anything you'd like to plug? And where can our fans kind of buy and or support your recent projects?
Which of you the amazing amazing projects?
Oh, yeah.
you
I mean, you have,
have,
like,
which
17,
you would like to
but,
plug.
yeah.
You have 5 different things going on.
I have 2 main things. My website is actually JapaneseBreakfast.rocks. And you can pre-order my book, Crying in H Mart there. It comes out on 4/20. Blaze it. And my new album is called Jubilee, and it comes out June 4th. And you can also get it there.
Hell yeah. And also
Pre-order
be sure to
it
check out that single, Be Sweet. It's out already. And Mike, it sounds like you and I are going to have to pre-order this because we're never going to get it from that PR person. So we're going to have to...
Send you a
We're gonna
couple.
We have to buy it. We have to pre-order that shit.
So be sure to blaze and then have some risky food. It's gonna
Yeah.
be sick as fuck, man.
As always, please follow us on Instagram and all the platforms at Asian.AsianPod. I'm also on there at the Fumiabe. That's TheFumiabe.
And you can find me on Instagram at Nice Pants.
Please check out our Zoom stand-up comedy show that we do every other weekend. It's called Hack City. It's free every time. Just go to Asian.AsianPod.com for tickets. And the next one's April 2nd. And the one after that is 2 weeks from that. We're also going to be doing Clubhouse shit, so just follow us on Instagram for more info. And honestly, the summer's just around the corner. I feel like, I don't know, Mike, if you're up for it, we could do some live events maybe once people get vaxxed and shit. So that might be happening. So I don't know. Are you into that? That's a no. Never mind. Rooftop.
I need to get vaccinated first because I feel like I feel everyone in New York has almost survived the war, but then has decided to just stick their head up out of the
foxhole,
trench,
yeah.
and then it's going to get
shot
in the head at the very last second. And I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So, but I do want to do a show because I just haven't done anything, and Zoom is fun.
And
but
hey,
let's-
who knows? Maybe Michelle will be opening for us. Who fucking knows? She might need that
yeah.
practice.
Opening for us. There are so many things we should open up for. We should open up for her opener. Like she's gonna do a reading, right, of her book. But before that, someone's gonna read the dictionary, and we're gonna open
Yeah,
for that
guy, dictionary guy.
So
Catch us.
it's gonna be sick, bro.
Anyways, Michelle, thank you again so much. He knows we love you. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.